Hey guys, welcome to this video where we'll be going over the sine rule. The sine rule to find the length of sides and to find the angles. This lesson is appropriate for someone who's a beginner to the sine rule or simply just needs a refresher. So let's go. We'll look at the first example here. Work out the value of x, giving your answer to one decimal place. Now the sine rule has its own formula, but I'm going to be avoiding the use of that formula because I find that the formula only makes some students more confused. So the first thing that you must know is that the sine rule and the cosine rule, when you get to it, they are applied on non-right angle triangles. So if you've been given a triangle that doesn't have a right angle, you are going to be considering using the sine rule or the cosine rule. In this lesson, obviously, we are going through the sine rule. So what you'll be looking for when you're looking at your diagram are opposite pairs. What I mean by this is, see here you got 38 and you've got an opposite side. So the angle is 38 and the side is x. This is an opposite pair. And then you have the angle 100 here, and opposite that, its side is the 13 centimeters. So these are known as opposite pairs. So a pairing of an angle with its side, its corresponding side, and you need a pair of those, okay? So now we can apply the sine rule, and the sine rule works the following way. You want to have the x, which you're looking for, over its opposite angle, but you put a sign on there. So remember to put that sign on there. So you do sine 38, and you make it equal to the other one. So it will be 13, which is the side, over sine 100. So in this case, we are looking for the side x, and we want to give the answer to one decimal place. In order to do that, we need to get rid of the sine 38 here. So we will get rid of that by multiplying on the other side, giving us x is equal to 13 times by sine 38. And we can write that as 13 sine 38. And it's going to be over sine 100. Now, if you get your calculators and put this into your calculator, make sure you're in degrees mode, of course. So you get 13 times by sine 38. You can press equals, it's probably better unless you're using the fraction button, and then divide by sine 100. Make sure that you close all the brackets that your calculator opens up, and you get the answer x is equal to 8.127 dot dot dot. We want to give the answer to one decimal place, so we can have 8.1 centimeters. Okay, and that's that. Very simple, very straightforward. So let's move on to the second question now. Work out the length AC. Okay, so let's mark AC with an X. That's what we're looking for. And we are looking for the opposite pairs. So what do we have? Well, we have the 55 with the 12 as a pairing. However, if you look at this, we have the angle 20 and we have the side which is not even there. So we have this 20 here and this side which is not there. But we shouldn't be looking at that anyway because we are trying to get a pairing with our x right there. So therefore we need to know what this angle is. Now this is a triangle and we've been given the two angles right there. So we can easily find what this angle is by doing angles in a triangle which add up to 180. So we can do that real quick. So that will be 180 minus 55 plus the 20, and the angle here is 105 degrees. So that's 105 degrees. So now we have our pairing, our second pairing. So let's put that in there, right there. So we can use our sine rule. So let's go. What will we have? We are looking for x, so it's going to be x over sine 105 is equal to 12 over sine 55. Once again, let's make x the subject by getting rid of the sine 105 on the bottom. So we have 12 times by sine 105 over sine 55. And that gives us 14.15013 dot dot dot. And we want to give the answer to one decimal place again. So 14.2 centimeters. So now you've seen how the sine rule applies to finding sides. Let's now look at how we apply the sine rule to finding angles. So here are the two questions that we are going to be applying the sine rule to find the angles for. So the first question says, work out the size of angle x, giving you answer to three significant figures. Once again, let's look for our pairings. So this is the angle that we are looking for, and we've got the opposite side, which is great. And then this angle is given to us, and we match it with its opposite side, which is given. So we can apply our sine rule here. So once again, let's put the 10 on the top. So 10 over sine x, because we are looking for the angle this time, which is an x, is equal to 15 over sine 60. Now, some people like to put the angle on the top, so they'll do sine x over 10 is equal to sine 60 over 15. And that's all right, but this works the same way. I just want to keep something consistent and less for you to remember, okay? So this time round, we want to make sine x our subject. So how do we make sine x the subject? Well, we can cross multiply. So we can multiply this up here, and we can take this and multiply over there, and then get rid of the 15 after that. So let's get rid of the sine 60 onto the other side. So we get 10 times by sine 60, and on this side we get 15 times sine x. And now we just need to get rid of that 15 right there by dividing by 15. So therefore we get 10 sine 60 divided by 15, and we have sine x. Now, because we are finding an angle, we have to use the inverse of sine. So on your calculators, you press shift to get the inverse of sine, giving us x is equal to the inverse of sine. And now we open up a bracket and we put all of that inside there. So we get 10 times sine 60 over 15. And just knock this answer into your calculator and round it to 3 SF. You should get 35.2643 ... and we can round that to 3 SF, giving us 35.3 degrees. Now, some of you may have found it difficult to put this into your calculators. If you did, then make sure that you use the brackets correctly. So if you did get a maths error on your calculator, make sure that if your calculator opened up any brackets, that you closed them, okay? Right, so on to the second question. Angle ABC is obtuse. Work out the size of angle ABC. What's ABC? ABC is A, B, and C. We are looking for this angle right there. Let's mark it. So that's going to be our X, the angle to find, and we have our opposite right there. So that's all good. So let's put that down right now. 20 over sine X. And that's going to be equal to this and that. So therefore we have 12 over sine 35. Once again, we're going to make sine x the subject, and then we're going to do the inverse. So we're going to cross multiply over here. So we get 20 times sine 35, and that's equal to 12 sine x, and then we divide by 12. So I'm going to write sine x on this side this time. So I get 20 sine 35 over 12, and then I'll do the inverse of sine. So therefore x is equal to inverse sine 20 sine 35 over 12. So now we just go into our calculators and knock that straight in and round your answer to 3SF. So you get x is equal to 72.9327 ... and to 3SF the answer is 72.9 degrees. Now 72.9 degrees is not the answer that the question requires, because if you go back to the question, it says that the angle ABC is obtuse, and as you know, that obtuse means greater than 90 degrees, and this value here is less than 90 degrees. So how do we find the other value? Right, if we take a look at the sine graph looks like this. So you have 0 to 360 right there, and you got 72.9 degrees. Now if we take this is 90, okay, if we take 72.9, we know that 72.9 is about there, and by reflection we have another value right there. So this is the obtuse value because it is greater than 90 degrees. Okay, so what is this value right there? Well, what we can do is just take it away from 180. We can find the difference. So we can just do 180, which is this point right there, take away this amount right there, and this amount is identical to this amount, which is 72.9. So we can find our value by doing 180 take away 72.9, and the value that we want is therefore 107.1 degrees. However, once again, you have to give your answer to 3 significant figures. This is clearly not 3 significant figures, so we just want 107. So therefore the answer is 107 degrees. Hope you enjoyed this lesson and you know how to apply the sine rule now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.